This is the project we're going to do today. I'm calling this one Tranquil Sunset. And these are the Stampscapes stamps that were used. Use this lady right here, Lady with Coffee, 432B. We used this one, which is the Shore Near, 412E. And also we used this portion right here of the Shore with Cabin, 409G. Both of these are from the Nature Sheet 18. And we also used these two sets of trees, and this is from the Nature Set 1. And we also used the water ripples from the Stampscapes Nature Sheet number 6. And from Making a Scene, we used the Rocky Shore stamp, which is T2-035F. And we use this Sutters stamp, which is River Falls G1617. From Art Impressions, we use the Little Grass from the Foliage Set 4051. And also these little flower buds here from the Garden Wagon Mini Set, which is 4875. Okay, and I have all my stamps positioned in a Stampin' Up stamp platform, and I'm going to use a 1/4 sheet of Kromekote glossy cardstock. And so I'm going to start by stamping the waterfall image and the woman with coffee. And I'm using a Misti creative corner in the platform so that I can offset the Kromekote paper. Okay, next I'm going to stamp this portion and this. And I've created a mask for the lady. Okay, next I'm going to stamp the shoreline right here. So I'll use my Misti corner again to make sure that it's properly positioned. Okay, I just inked up to the dock, and so I'm going to wipe off the ink from the dock on. And I'm going to wait to stamp the trees on either side here in the foreground until the very last. Okay, and I'm going to use the largest hole punch from the Doris hole punches. And I'm going to just punch a hole so that I can make a mask for the sun. Okay, for the sky I'm going to use some Distress ink, Antique Linen, Victorian Velvet, Seedless Preserves, and Chipped Sapphire. And I will start with the Antique Linen. And I am going to use a blending brush, a kind of smallish size blending brush. And I will clean the brush just by wiping it on a dry microfiber cloth. And I'll make sure it's clean. And next I'll do Victorian Velvet. Next I'll do Seedless Preserves. And then Chipped Sapphire. Okay, now I'll go back to the Victorian Velvet. Okay, and back to the antique linen. I'm going to use Victorian Velvet, and I'm using my smaller rounded tip blending brush. Okay, I'll use some antique linen here. Okay, and now I'll use some chipped sapphire. Okay, next I'll use some broken china. Okay, back to chipped sapphire. Okay, for the mountains and whatnot, I'm going to use a little bit of brushed corduroy. Okay, to add some green, I'll add some mowed lawn. Okay, next we'll use some pine needles. Okay, now I'm going to give this ink a little bit of a chance to dry, and we'll be back. Let's see, and right now I will remove the mask on the lady. Okay, I put this back in my stamp platform, and I'm going to re-ink the stuff back here in the background. And I think I'm going to remask her. Okay, now I'll give what I've just restamped a chance to dry, and we'll be back. Okay, and I'll use some alcohol markers to try and color in the water a little bit. So this is a Oops, wrong one. I wanted to grab 67 and I grabbed 61. So let's see if I can Alright, for the lady, I will use skin tone for her skin. And I'll use a darker color and then I'll use some yellow colors for her hair. Okay, and I'll do kind of a brownish and yellow for her jacket. And I'll use the same colors for her hat. Okay, and then I'll use a brownish color for her boots. Okay, and I'll use a blue-gray over here to add some shadow behind where the lady is standing. Okay, and I'll use a darker brown to color in all the rocks. And I'll use a slightly lighter brown okay, and I'll use a dark green to add a little more color here. Okay, and I'll use the Art Impressions Small Grass, and I will use a Marvy LePlume number 15 Olive Green. That's not dark enough, so I'll try some number 72 Pine Green. Okay, now I'll use a white gel pen to add some highlights to the water. Okay, and I want to add some ripples to the water, so I'll use some Memento Tuxedo Black and ink up my ripple stamp. And I will soften the edges. Okay, and more of my white gel pen. Okay, I'll take my blue-gray marker and I like to add a little bit of color, so I like to add some wildflowers, and so I'm going to use some art impressions. This is the little dots, and I'm going to use a Marvy LePlume number 55 Iris Purple. Okay, and for up in here, I am just going to ink up part of the stamp. And the last thing we'll do is stamp the trees. Okay, and I've given the trees in the foreground a little bit of a chance to dry, so I'm going to add just a little bit of white gel pen highlight. Okay, and I'm going to use a 0.3 multi-liner to just add some birds up in the sky. And then I will sign and date it. I'm going to take it outside and I'm going to spray it with some Kraylon acrylic coating, and when I'm finished, I'll be back. Okay, and here is the final result after I sprayed it with the acrylic coating. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye!